Hi, welcome back to Nova Talks. I'm your host, Connor Pepin, and I'm joined today by John Thompson. Would you care to introduce yourself?
Sure, of course. I'm Johnny Thompson, a local teacher here in FCPS, and I've been teaching high school for about 13 years now. I graduated from JMU and have been teaching a wide range of science classes, but most recently, physics.
Wow, 13 years. That's a long time.
It seems that way, but honestly, I don't remember where it all went.
Well, this week, we're going to be taking a look at school spending, more specifically, spending in Fairfax County Public Schools, one of the richest and most affluent counties in the country. First off, we'll start with a hot topic as of late, teacher salaries. Mr. Thompson, if you don't mind me asking, how much do you make as a teacher at FCPS?
Well, I think pretty much everyone knows that teachers are quite underpaid, and none of us are in it for the money. That being said, we do wish it was a little more, especially living in Fairfax, which has a higher cost of living than many other areas of the country. But to answer your question, after benefits and compensation, a teacher who's taught for 13 years in the Fairfax County Public School system makes somewhere in the ballpark of about $85,000 a year.
For our listeners who don't know, the average median household income in Fairfax County is just shy of $113,000, which is just an insane amount of money, yet still not the highest in Virginia. The market average for a teacher in this area who's taught for 13 years, like Mr. Thompson, is actually much more than FCPS schools, coming in around $100,000. That is, of course, after you take into account compensation and other benefits that aren't base salary. But still, that's a large gap between FCPS and the other local districts. In fact, between a teacher's years 5 through 20, they'll lose around $70,000 when compared to what they would make teaching elsewhere. So, Mr. Thompson, why do you choose to keep teaching in Fairfax?
That's a great question. I think it all comes down to community. FCPS just has a certain feel to it, not only with the schools, but with the students. And that's what makes it hard for teachers to move when they know only one or two districts over they could be making more.
I want to bring up another topic related to teacher salaries, being passed over for your yearly raise. For our listeners who may not know how it works, every year a teacher's salary is increased to correspond with their year's teaching and the skills they acquire, such as AP qualifications, online teaching qualifications, and others like that. But recently, as FCPS continues to have more budget and spending issues, teachers have been getting passed over for their yearly raise. Mr. Thompson, how do things like this affect you as a teacher?
Well, as far as teaching abilities, not at all, of course, but this is my only job and how I make money to live. So as I progress in my career, I expect, like most people, to get raises, promotions, and just generally move up the totem pole. But for many years now, FCPS has chosen to pass over on those raises. So I'm not making what a teacher of 13 years normally would in this country, or in this county, excuse me.
And is this just for you or for all teachers across the county?
This is all the teachers in FCPS. I will say it's starting to get better as of late. But for the most part, many teachers just feel cheated in a system that already isn't giving them what they should be.
Wow, you're very right. Even in an extremely rich county, the teachers feel cheated, and there has to be something to say about that. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about the infrastructure in FCPS and asking, where is all this money going? Hi, and welcome back. When we left off, Mr. Thompson and I were discussing the teacher compensation in Fairfax County Public Schools and how it's both under market average and unfair to the teachers. So to every school system across the world, teachers are the engine that drives schools and determines the success of students. But for so many teachers, it is becoming harder and harder to teach with overcrowding, having too many students in the classroom, making it harder to help those who need it.
It's actually very true, and these aren't supposed to be the massive lecture hall classes you'd see in your typical freshman year of college. For these students, many require a chance for one-on-one time to help learn and reinforce the topics. But if I have 30 plus students in my class, it makes it hard to give them that kind of one-on-one attention.
And I completely understand. For example, my own physics class right now has 32 students, and not enough desks for all of them. Having kids buddy up at desks and actually trying to cram into one classroom makes it definitely a harder environment to learn and to focus.
And that's not the only issue either. Many teachers are going without their own rooms, having to essentially live off a little cart and travel from room to room in order to teach.
For a county as rich as Fairfax, you'd hope these things wouldn't be a problem, but sadly they are. Mr. Ryan McElveen, a member on the school board, says it best when he says, quote, "We tend to focus on the day-to-day issues as opposed to focusing on the real structural issues with the system," end quote. This was in regards to overcrowding in schools, but still holds true for teachers being underpaid. And it's clear through FCPS's actions and spending they aren't investing for the future. They aren't investing into their infrastructure, both the physical schools themselves and the teachers that make counties like Fairfax successful. Just giving quick bandages to immediate issues, and I seriously think that in the not too distant future, it will become a more serious issue, but there won't be the time to take care of it. They need to start now in order to prepare for what can happen down the road. So, Mr. Thompson, what can we do to help FCPS for the future before it's too late?
It's a great question. I think the biggest thing you can do is to know who your representative is and communicate with them. For you, a Madison student, your representative on the school board is Mr. Thomas Wilson. But I guarantee the majority of the student body does not know this.
So, getting to know your area representative. I'd also like to advocate to go speak at the next council meeting, or in order to ask your questions and voice your concerns. Or if you don't have the time to do that, just go to the FCPS website and submit your questions directly to your board member from there. Well, anyway, thank you, Mr. Thompson, for coming in today and talking with us. It was a pleasure to have you.
Of course, and I'm glad I could get a chance to help raise support for such an important issue.
And to our listeners, don't forget to like and share. We appreciate all the support we can get. Thank you, and see you next week.